Pick for Life. In today's P4L review, we'll be taking another look at a new third-party company. This is Open & Play's Big Spring, their version of a Masterpiece scaled Springer. I know, another one, right? So I think we have like 6 or 7 Masterpiece style Springers coming out in one way, shape, or form. We already had, what was it, DX9s or Uniques toys. We saw some more of Fans Toys, Toy World. So there are a lot of figures. I think even MMC showed one off recently. I might be mixing them up, but in any case, there are a lot of Springers coming out. So let's take a look at this one from a new company. As far as packaging review, I really like this artwork. It's kind of like in the calligraphy style. You know, it's inkish in terms of line art on the front. That's really a two-toned on the side, and on the back is where we get the actual product images. So we get his robot mode and his 2 alt modes here. And one of the things that they talked about at TFcon is that they really wanted to, and why they called Open & Play, is that they really want figures to be enjoyable and that you're going to open them and play with them, and that they're not just, you know, display pieces. That they're really going for kind of a fun design, easier transformation. At least that's what their motto is. Whether they actually hold to that, I'll let you guys know, and you guys can judge for yourself once we get through the review. So, first off, here is Big Spring out of the box. He comes with a couple different things. So, he has his gun with a little peg on the side. You'll use that for his alt modes. And then if you recognize, this thing has a very specific shape. If you remember the movie and they're loading up that cannon, they're trying to push it when Devastator's attacking the base and they want to make a counterattack, then Springer, Daniel, Hot Rod, and RC all kind of push this big catapult gun thing, and this is like the bullet. It was a different color, I believe, but they just made it molded gray plastic. The only other accessories he does have are this piece that is a sword sheath place that plugs in back there, and then his sword itself, which is metallically painted in silver and metallic blue, which looks nice. And this doubles as the blades, or rotor, I guess, for his alt mode. But yeah, for right now, go ahead and just slide this on, peg it into the port in the back, and you have a little sheath for a sword. Few things right off the bat. You can see that out of the box, he kind of has more of an ox look in terms of the shoulders, how they can be positioned kind of like that, right? You can have it alternatively using a set of double hinges and a rotation to come down, and this, I guess, is the quote-unquote official mode for this guy. And this is kind of what we're more familiar with, at least in terms of what he looks like in the movie, right? And overall, let's take a quick 360. He looks quite good. He's pretty clean overall. Really nice, compact. There's no backpack really to speak of. That's just his back. There's no real backpack on him. And I do like the option that they give you with the shoulders, if you like that. One thing that I wanted to mention is the face sculpt. I don't love it. One of the things that get me mostly is that the eyes are really sunken in. So they're metallic blue painted, but they're really far in. One thing I did notice though, and I might not be able to show it off here. Oh, there we go. It does unpeg quite easily, so if somebody wanted to make an upgrade kit or something like that, I think it might work. The face itself doesn't look bad when I look at it by itself, but it does look weird just when you plug it in and his eyes are so sunken in. It just looks kind of odd. Yeah. So, you know, everyone says Fans Toy Spaces are the worst. These guys might have them beat in terms of their Springer. Let's go into articulation very well. Actually, let's do comparisons first before we go into that, just so we get that out of the way. So, first off, here he is with MP9 Rodimus. This is in his shorter configuration with his hot rod face. And I think this scale works really quite well. Here he is with the newer version of Hot Rod, I guess. This scale doesn't work so good, but we all kind of know that. Here he is with, what is it, DX9 or Unique Toys, Runman, or their Blur. I don't remember what he looks, what he's called. Here he is with the oversized deluxe RC, Alcy. I think that was from Weijing, right? It's hard for me to remember all these figures. Who else do we have here? I guess why not? Why not another Springer, a deluxe Voyager Springer? And then lastly, the obligatory MP10 scale. So overall, these guys don't work that well. I think this group works actually quite well. And as far as proportion goes, he's not as bulky as the DX9, whatever his name is. I don't remember what his name is. Or Unique Toys, whatever, whichever company that was. You guys know what I'm talking about. Their Springer, who is really, really bulky and beefy and too much for my taste. So I don't have him to compare because I didn't collect them. So that was kind of my feelings on that. But in terms of overall look, I think he does the job quite well. Let's take this off for now. He does hold it. It's just a friction thing. And then he closes his hands around it. There's no tab, which I would have preferred just because it is kind of loose here. You do definitely have to keep the hands closed to make it feel secure. Sorry about that. I live near an airport. Not even that close, but decently close. As far as articulation goes, his head's on kind of a hinge at the base of the neck, and then he's on a ball joint. So he can do all sorts of crazy stuff like that. Dance. He does have ratcheted shoulders, and then a double hinge here if you want to get a little bit more outward movement. You can get up to here. He has bicep swivels. He has double jointed elbows, which give him all the elbow bend that he would ever possibly need. Come on, there we go. He has a wrist swivel, and then he has kind of MP style hands where the pointer fingers separately articulated, but this one doesn't even have the extra joint here, which can get him to do that curvy point. He still has kind of the trigger pose. I don't really mind it all that much. He does have a waist swivel, no ab crunch unfortunately. He does have ratcheted hips. I go this far and this far, go out this far. So could probably be a little bit tighter, but it's actually not bad. As far as ratchets go, here's one click out. There we go, one click out, which I think is perfect. It's probably just at shoulder width, but it's not. His shoulders aren't so wide where that makes it look goofy. Yeah, it looks like he has a bicep swivel here, but unfortunately he doesn't here. He has it at the upper part of the knee. Ratcheted knees that go 90 degrees. And then he has a foot tilt. Toes and heel. Mostly for transformation. And then even at the tippy toe part, he does have a little bit of a pin joint there. So I think that's all the articulation he has, unless I missed something, which I usually tend to do. The one thing I will say is this tabbing joint, the tabbing mechanism, even though there's 3 sets of tabs, that is not toleranced at all. It doesn't do the job at all. And that's the kind of the case in some of the other tabs as well that we go through transformation. That's one thing that they need to fix in future releases, that this clearly should not be doing this. But otherwise, he looks quite good. And you can store the weapon gun back here as well if you want to do that. But I thought that was kind of obvious. He does have some weird things going on in terms of transformation. So again, the philosophy with this guy, this company is supposed to be that they're supposed to be fun to transform, easier to transform. They don't even have any instructions, as far as I know, not video or paper, at least in the review copy that they gave me at the con. So I don't know if that's a mistake or what, but apparently they were saying it's pretty intuitive. I don't really agree with that. There are some things that are definitely not that intuitive and are actually kind of fun and unique about this transformation, but I don't know if I agree with their whole philosophy or their motto of it being easy to transform. So we'll go ahead and go into both modes. The alt modes are pretty easy to get to and from each of them. So on the way back, I'll probably just go straight to robot mode from the other one. So let's go ahead and start with, I like to start with his arms. They're just a little bit easy. They're easy. So let's go ahead and just flip these out. Get them back like this. Let's flip this out, turn it, and then use the double hinge to get him in like so. The hands, we'll go ahead and open this up and the bottom part up. And you do have to have this rotated in a specific way. You want to have the fist facing up or the palm facing up when you rotate it in. And then when you close it, those will tab in. This little piece here you'll need for jet mode, or helicopter mode, but we're not going to use that for now. And once you have that done, you'll see that this elbow can kind of swing back a bit, and there's a tab at the elbow that goes into the shoulder piece. So we'll do that again on this side. Just open this up, open that up, palm up, rotate it in, close it up. I'm going to go ahead and tab that in. That's probably going to come undone at some point while I fiddle around with this, but don't worry for now. Next, we'll go ahead and come to the chest, undo these tabs here at the kind of upper side of the chest. Pull back on the top part of his backpack and pull out the canopy or windshield, whatever you want to call it. And then you're going to flip this all the way open. Oh, sorry. I'm running into this. Something seems to be acting up. I should just go... Oh, okay, yeah, that was right. Okay, I felt some resistance and I thought I might be breaking something. So once we go here, you're going to want to pull the head back on this hinge first, all the way. And then rotate at the second hinge. Space. I'm not sure which orientation this is supposed to be in. I think it should be facing this way, but again, I'm not sure. You just want to tuck it in like this, and this front piece will come down, kind of hide his face a bit. Okay. This piece will rotate around like so. Oh, it's supposed to be like that. That's why. This way for the kind of car mode. And tabs in right here. Which looks kind of funny at this point, but you'll see why it does that. Also for car mode, it does a cool thing where it actually has a wider windshield or canopy for car mode and a more narrow one for helicopter mode, which I think makes sense. So see, you can see here that there's two sets of tabs that correspond, and I think that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that design. Does it fairly seamlessly. All right, one weird thing, they have these telescoping little space fillers. You need to get them out of the way for robot mode, but for all the other modes you need to fill that in. All right, so coming back down here, getting the arms kind of aligned like this. The only other thing you need to do for the arms is you have to slide this all the way up on these two sliding joints to come to the very front. And then you use those double hinge shoulders. Sorry, am I getting all this on? I haven't been paying attention. Double hinge shoulders to get that tabbed in here, and then they'll tab in again as part of the lower legs transform with these tabs. Alright, so next up, we're going to deal with the lower legs. First thing we'll do is fold up the toes and the feet, so they kind of go like this. We're going to open up the leg so there's a tab here. I'm going to open up the leg. It does this interesting transformation, so it swings around on the knee joint. This is going to, the foot's going to fold in all the way here. And then it goes like this. There's that line that you saw before that you thought might be a bicep swivel. It's actually a tab system that holds it in like this. And this lower body is going to kind of go in here. But before we do that, let's go ahead and make sure we transform the rest of this. Rotate this down or back like so. And this ball joint will flip around like this. This will come on double hinges and tab backwards. And so it should be kind of like this. For the car mode, we're going to use this double hinge here and double hinge here to get the wheels out. Alright, so doing it again on this side. Pull this out, get the foot tucked in, rotate at the knee. This is going to go like this. Rotate this down, get this up and swung around like so. On the double hinge, bring it back down and tap it in or peg it in. There we go. And then this tab will come in here with the double hinge to form the rear of the alt mode. Break open the upper thigh. So again, this is all kind of interesting. It all rotates kind of in like this. You have to bend at the knee as well. And then this kind of comes in like so. And you need to do this because this is how this kind of weird rounded tab system will tab in here. For some reason it's not wanting to go in. Oh, there's a set of tabs here too. This flap will come out on the side here. Oh, I know why. So, one small thing that I always forget is that this thruster has to come out because it gives you extra room for the back to fit in for robot mode, and then it gives you the extra room for this to slide in for transformation to the alt modes. My bad. Sorry about that. Again, small things that if you're not paying attention aren't that intuitive, I don't think. And that's basically it. So then you close down this tab here and here. You have a bit of a gap. You do have a sliding joint on the thighs, like here, but you can't go all the way closed in this mode for the car mode because otherwise you're gonna run into this. So you can slide it more, but then you're not gonna have the room to actually be positioned correctly. So you kind of leave it out here like this, which is kind of a bummer. And then just get everything situated like we did before. So like I said, things are gonna kind of come untabbed. And then tab in the arms that I pointed out to you earlier to the lower tab joints here. The upper ones we're gonna use for another mode. And with that said, this should be his, oh, sorry, should I flip this up? I forget how this is supposed to look in his official mode, how the fins are supposed to look. Oh, so they're supposed to be angled a little bit. So, like this. And then you're gonna have the gun here, or on the side here. It's not a round peg, and this is not a round peg hole, so you can only have it in certain angles. But either way, I think it's supposed to be like this. And the alt mode looks okay. It's not great, but it's not terrible. It's fairly clean. Again, some of the issues I have with this mode are like the tabbing systems here. So there's two tabs here, which are at really different depths and different tolerances or depths for the tabs as well, and they don't work that well. So they're supposed to tab in quite securely. Not so much. The other tabs are not terrible either, but they could go with some more tolerancing. And the gap here is what probably bothers me the most about this one, because there's nothing holding it in place. When you do the jet mode, you'll see that there's a big peg in here and both halves collapse together, and that makes it all kind of stick a little bit better than what we're seeing here. That said, it does look kind of nice. You can judge for yourself whether you think it's a quote-unquote intuitive transformation. I didn't think so, really. It took a little bit of investigating, especially this part. This part was kind of tricky. He does have flip-up, I guess, headlights. They're translucent blue. There's no paint on them. I don't know. It looks kind of funny to me, but if you like that, you have it. And the windshield does open, should you want to do that. You can probably fit somebody straight in here lying down if you wanted. The only figure that I usually do alt mode transformation comparisons with is my trusty Streak, and so you can see that he's slightly longer than Streak in alt mode and almost twice the width. And there's not that much of a jump from here into his helicopter mode. So the first thing we have to do for that is just kind of untab these sections on the arms really quickly. Alright, and we need to flip this around. So remember how this was tabbed in? Kind of get this out of the way. How did I do this? Oh, no, that's a mistake. So the first thing you have to do is slide this down, because that gives you the extra clearance. So that sliding joint on the shoulders, come on, there we go. Make sure you get that all the way down, and then with that, you have enough clearance to get this back around and tab back in the way it was before. Maybe it would have made more sense to go from this robot mode to plane mode, but there are other reasons why I didn't do that. Go ahead and lift up the canopy, collapse in this middle section that made it a bit wider. There we go, that was weird. Alright, so this is just going to go back as before. With the shoulders, we're going to do something a bit different. This piece here is going to flip around and tab into the bottom. Same thing on this side. And the arms, you're going to make use of the double, you're going to rotate the arms out and make use of the double jointed elbows to tab in here. Flip open this piece to flip out that little yellow stabby section, because everyone needs the stabby section on the front of their helicopter. Because you don't have any guns or anything like that, or sharp propeller blades. Alright, so then once you have all this done, you're going to want to go back on the double hinges, and you're going to tab into the upper gray tabs here. Like that. For the back section, all you do really is just extend these out. One cool part is you kind of get an auto transformation with these side fins when you come to this mode. Flip these straight, and then again using these sliding joints at the thighs. Well, I guess not really the thighs, it's the legs, the lower legs, the back of the lower legs In any case, oh, one thing I wanted to note, this review copy that I got, and it is a final copy, does have some stress marks here and here, but I don't know. I think it might have been the display piece that was at TFcon, so it's probably gone through like a couple dozen transformations. But just something to note. Just full disclosure there. Oh, this is another tab that I feel like doesn't work that well. These two tabs up front, I can't really get them to actually usefully peg in. You don't really need them, but they were there for that sole purpose. He does have rubber wheels, which I failed to mention before. Clearly I'm tired. And as I showed before, the sword goes ahead and splits this way, plugs in here. And as before, you can go ahead and plug this into the port in the back. And there you have him in alt mode, helicopter mode. As far as proportions go, he's about 1.5 streaks in length and a little bit more than 2 in width. I actually like this mode better. I think it works better, again, because of this tabbing section on the back that holds it all together a bit better. And then I do like these little stabby things. I wish they had some in the back, because I think he had some forward and backwards. But by and large, I think it works pretty well. I think this is probably my favorite of the two alt modes. And again, the cool things that they went through to do the smaller canopy and slightly changed front and side. Little details, but I think it does make both modes a little bit more distinct. And it does rotate quite well. So let's go ahead and pull this off and transform back into robot mode. I think it's pretty self-explanatory how to get back into car mode, since we just did it. Really, it's just kind of folding these up for the most part and then getting this arm section. So we're just going to go ahead and go straight into robot mode. So let's go ahead and deal with the legs first. Fold this down, split the legs, get them slid out on these sliding joints here. Untab the front sections so that you can actually untab here as well. And get this leg hip thing all the way down. Now go ahead and tuck this in for now. If you don't do that, you won't be able to, you'll have clearance issues with this back. So go ahead and make sure to tuck that in, like so. Go ahead and fold these in like that. The legs, retab in the thighs with those beefy C-clips. These thigh pieces are going to rotate like that. This is going to come to the back side and rotate 180 degrees and flip down like so with these covers. I didn't feel like these pieces were really at all necessary, but they were there, so I guess make use of them. Get the knees rotated down, bring the foot out, as well as the toe. And then this is going to come in like this. Oh, sorry, you have to flip this up first. I'm going to pull this back, and there's a tab here. I'll tab everything into place. It's the same thing on the other leg. Get this flipped around, get the foot out, get the toe out. Collapse this piece, the tail fin kind of thing, tail rudder, whatever it's called. And then you have the lower legs done. The upper body, go ahead and open up the backpack, collapse in the windshield or canopy, whatever you want to call it, depending on what mode you're in. Flip this piece out where the crappy tabs will go ahead right here. Get the head out. Oh, very important. Remember to open up these pieces. That's going to allow this to kind of all fold in. And then with the upper body, the chest, remember to untab this a bit. So once you do all that, his head should just, oh, maybe you need to get the canopy out first. There we go. Now you can fold all this stuff back in. That's going to tab in here, or supposedly these chest pieces are going to tab closed. The arms are going to come back around. You can, I guess you can keep these out, so you can have like melee stabby weapons. Let's just do that, just for fun, just for giggles. And rotate the fists. Lastly, depending on how you want your shoulders done, go ahead and make use of these. Flip these around, tabbed in. And then get them around to the front. And they kind of slot in with these tabs here. And then fold these back pieces. Like so. If you want, or you can, I guess you can keep them out. And there we have Big Spring, kind of back, there we go, kind of back in robot mode with his new melee stabby weapons. I like having the shield sheath, or I guess not really a sheath, but the sword holder on his back. You can have it angled to the side if you want, I suppose. Give him kind of a last nighty look. I haven't seen that movie, but I heard it's awful, so I'm going to stick to my guns and not watch it. And there we go. We're back in robot mode for Big Spring. Not too shabby, right? So, final thoughts on this guy. I think he looks quite good. I'm not going to say he's probably the best looking Springer. I'm actually growing a little bit more towards the Fans Toys ones the more I see it. Especially what we saw at TFcon Toronto. But he is actually a better looking one than the DX9 one that we saw before. At least in my opinion, in terms of overall proportions. Even though his face sculpt isn't great, I think it's a bit better and less, I don't know, roundish than the DX9 one. And the transformation is, I think, way easier. While it's not intuitive, I don't think I don't think it's bad either. Let's just hide these just so people don't get confused. And the transformation is kind of fun, and it has some unique things going on with it. So I don't mind it that much, but it would definitely behoove them to provide some instructions. They could have done a little bit more with the molded weapons and overall paint. Like right now, he looks pretty plain. Springer's pretty plain. He has a lot of green. I've always kind of preferred the yellow chest of the toy a bit more than just all of the green that we have here. But they're different colors. They're just not painted so much. So I would have liked maybe a little bit more paint. There's a little bit here and on the requisite parts that were translucent. Some here, but it would have gone for a little bit more than just what we see here. That said, maybe this guy will get some repro labels and that will help out. The major things I have issues with are the tabbing systems. So like again, this is not doing the job. It's not even like half-heartedly doing the job. It's not even like clocking in and just surfing the internet kind of doing the job, right? He's like not even showing up. So he's probably not gonna get his paycheck. Hopefully they can fix that or maybe send some replacements. That said, overall, this guy was going for $90 Canadian. And that's like, I don't know, like $65, maybe $70 US. Not even $70 US. So for a first outing, Masterpiece scale of this overall size and build quality, which is actually quite nice, and nice robust plastic, not cheap or hollow feeling. No die cast though, but still, for $90 Canadians, you know, $70, maybe $65 US. That's a phenomenal deal. I gotta say, I don't have any issues recommending this guy at $65 US. That said, again, we have a whole lot of Springers. We have a bunch coming out, so there's gonna be some price wars. I've already seen the DX9 one go on sale, so it might behoove you to kind of wait it out, see what the other 5,000 offerings of a Masterpiece Springer are, and then once the wars go on, the pricing wars are going to go on, pick whichever one suits your fancy at that point. That would be my recommendation. That said, again, great value for what you're getting, and overall, I think they did a really good freshman outing with Big Spring. So hopefully we'll see more from Open Play. All right, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. As always, if you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Whether that's on YouTube or Facebook or wherever that may be. And as always, if you like this guy and you want to add him to your collection, go ahead and head on over to Toy Dojo, my sponsor, and pick this guy up. I know they have some of these guys in stock now. All right, that's all for today, everyone. Hope you have a good one.